quite hot here in Northern California. And yesterday, you can see the bucket garden is really taken up and doing well. And we've been picking a lot of tomatoes and peppers and things like that and giving them to neighbors and friends and family. So it's very rewarding. And yesterday, I have this giant tomato plant that was kind of getting out of hand. So I was tying the top bigger branches up to the trellis that I purchased, and I went to grab a branch and it scared me just a bit because as I went to grab it, I don't know if you can see him, I found this gigantic tomato hornworm, and they just destroy everything. They get up to the top of the plant and they start chewing, and they don't stop. And we found 2 of them. I put them in a jar so when my daughter gets home I can gross her out, because they're quite huge, like size of a finger. So I'd never seen these before, so I looked them up online. And one of the things I noticed when I had them in the jar is, you know, they eat the leaves and then all these droppings are in the jar. And what I noticed was underneath the buckets, or underneath my tomato plants on the table, there was some as well. So this is a telltale sign, okay, because they're just eating and dropping, eating and dropping. The other one is that all your high up branches have no leaves on them, because apparently they start at the top and work their way down. So this wasn't like this yesterday, and I started looking around and I noticed that there's quite a few plants with no branches left or no leaves left, or almost none. So I started doing some research, and I don't want to use, I went to Lowe's and Home Depot, and of course, they push you toward insecticides and stuff like that, and I didn't want to use them. So looking online, I was come across that most organic gardeners use a product called BT, and I finally found one at Home Depot. It was the only one. They didn't have it in the spray bottles, which was actually kind of worked out to be a good thing. So this is the one I got. It's concentrated, and I bought a spray bottle, and then I mix it by the gallon, fill the spray bottle, and then spray all the plants. I wish it was in something like this so that we could just hook it to the hose and it would portion it out, because it takes quite a bit to spray this many plants and make sure you get good coverage on them. Now this thing will go after the worms, but it won't kill off things like ladybugs and wasps and things like that are actually good for your garden, and it's not toxic for birds or anything. So we use this. So what we did was we went through and we tried to pick off all of the ones that we could find. And with this dense of foliage, we found 2. And I wasn't gonna try pulling it all apart. So once we cut those 2 off, we went through and we're spraying the heck out of it the first time. And then the container says to do this every 5 to 7 days to keep them at bay. So we're gonna see how this works out. If you have chickens and you haven't sprayed them yet, you can also pick them off and feed them to your chickens, because apparently they really like them. Or like me, you can cut them off and put them in a jar so that you can freak out your kid when they get home. So, or if you have kids who like bugs, they might actually want to keep them and just keep feeding them. So anyway, trying to keep this from getting out of hand, and we will see how it goes. So now off to spray and get this really taken care of so we don't see these guys anymore. Okay, so now I just pulled this plant off. I just trimmed it off. So when you grab them, they're kind of hard to get off and kind of mushy, and I'm no way touching them, sorry. So I pulled them off, but that's how big they are. Literally like, a little planter cup. Look how big it is. They're not small. All right,